Back. Welcome in. Welcome all. Come on, guys. We've been doing this
To
for
the
25
Like That
episodes now.
podcast, episode 25. Back again with my two favorite hosts in the same room. But now, you guys haven't been in the same room. I've given you both different happy birthdays in two different episodes. But now you guys are old. That's a part of the past. But how's your
Yep.
March been, guys?
It's been okay. No complaints. Basketball has been pretty entertaining, both college and in the NBA. I don't know about you guys, but my bracket was busted well after the Ohio State TCU game. But the games have been really enjoyable to watch. I've been pretty sharp on the betting side of things so far, I would say, through the first two rounds.
Yeah, I mean, didn't talk too long about birthdays and all, but weather's hopefully starting to turn around for you guys. I don't know how it's been doing down where you're living at, but definitely it was like 55 here today. So that was kind of cool. But for March Madness, everything was going great until Florida lost. Also BYU losing in the first round. I didn't have that happening. But hey, Arizona still just needs to win the championship, and some things are right in the world.
Yeah, I mean, for me, you talked about the weather. I got to golf for the first time this year last week, and swing is just how it should be as your first time out after not playing for a very long time. And on the bracket side of things, I mean, yeah, the games have been crazy. I mean, Vanderbilt, Nebraska went down to just a ball rolling out of the rim. We've seen some last second, borderline buzzer beaters. We saw Florida obviously lose, but I have a bracket that's in the 97th percentile. I know I talked about my winner on the previous episode being Michigan, and they've looked good so far. They scared me a little bit in their first game to begin it, but for someone again that made this bracket in like 15 minutes and having it in the 97th percentile, I think that's absolutely comedy because you know the guys that make like 30 brackets and they're computing everything down to a science, and meanwhile I'm just like, oh, maybe Gonzaga loses in the second round. I'll do that.
You're like the girl that makes the bracket based off of mascots. Like, oh, I like the Blue Devil. Let me take Duke.
I have some knowledge of it, but like Brooklyn, I thought BYU was gonna win. I thought they were gonna win two games, and let alone get
Yeah,
bounced
no,
in the
I did
first
as well.
round.
Yeah,
But
I thought the Banta was gonna cook, which he did, but not
Because
enough.
that team is just clearly not good without him.
Yeah,
yeah, so my biggest worry is Duke because a lot of people pick Duke, and I think that they came into the bracket with the number one odds, and they're giving us every reason to show why they should be.
except for the first game.
I mean they took care of business towards the end, but yeah, that was a little bit of a sweat.
Yeah, that was interesting. That would have been interesting if they lost though.
But yeah, so what are we talking about today? Of course, we're doing our team of the weeks, our players of the week. Then we're gonna open up the room, a little bit of a debate. Something we've been talking about on the side is, just we've had a lot of discussions about Shea in the last couple episodes, and we want to talk specifically about the MVP race. I know Shea currently sits at minus 800, so it looks like he's got the award locked up, but maybe some of us disagree with that. After we talk about that, we're gonna be jumping into a fun little fantasy draft, just drafting solely based off of this NBA season's performance. We're going to be drafting kind of like in the all NBA style teams, two guards, three forwards. And again, just drafting teams solely based off of their performance this year. And then again, something we've teased the last few episodes, we're going to end the episode with a hoop grid, which I'm super excited for. Just makes a lot more editing on my side though to put it in the screen.
It's okay, man. It's worth it.
Always worth it. But let's jump into team of the weeks. Let's start on the positive side. I'm not gonna go first because I just yapped for a while. Let's have Nick here. Missed last episode. Have you jump in the ring here? Who was your team of the week last week?
My team of the week happens to actually be the New Orleans Pelicans. They've been a pretty hot team, not only against the spread, but they've also been winning outright. They're 10-5 outright in their last 15. They're 9-1 against the spread in their last 10, and they've actually bumped up to third best against the spread record in the league. I know we kind of already talked about it past few weeks. Charlotte's up there. Miami took the cake, I believe, not last week, 2 weeks ago when you and I did the episode, Nico. But the Pelicans, I mean, they kind of been on a little bit of a run in the West. I mean, they're kind of ruled out already of the play, and the West is kind of already set. But so far to kind of end off the year, they're going off on a little bit of a nice little run. So I like the Pelicans. I mean, they've been putting up numbers, they've been putting up stats, and with the games that they have been dogs by at least 5 or 6 points, they've been winning outright. So
Yeah, I think the Pelicans have had a lot go right recently, especially getting most of that roster that was originally supposed to be there and make New Orleans look a little bit scarier back. With DeJounte Murray, Zion, Trey Murphy, and Sadiq Bey took a huge step up this year, playing had some pretty big games, especially when they were in like the downslope of things. And now that team's kind of playing together as a unit, and you start to see that what they could have been this year just come up here in this late stretch. Yeah, no, I like the Pelicans as of late. They've been an exciting team to watch. I think they had a real close game against the Knicks a couple nights ago, and that's a team that you put the Knicks and the Pelicans in the same sentence, you don't really see them kind of really having any sort of thing to do with each other. Going to my team of the week, I want to highlight the Atlanta Hawks. This is a team that like who had any expectations that they would be in the play-in? I mean, maybe the play-in, but not in the play-in now, but in the first six.
yeah,
Like
they're the sixth
I don't
seed
know.
right now.
Yeah, and Trey Young had some issues earlier in the year, and then eventually, of course, gets traded. And the return for that was extremely confusing. When I first saw it, I was like, CJ McCollum, you needed something in there, and Corey Kispert, and then it ends. That was it. You're just like, what did the Hawks?
Where's the rest?
What were the
Yeah.
Hawks cooking, right? And look at the Wizards where they're at right now with that whole list of names that they have going for them, compared to the Hawks, who of their last 15 games are currently 13-12. Sorry, that's good. 13-2. 13-2.
Really
Their
big
last
difference there.
15.
Yes, team of the week there.
13-2. And that's just, of course, win-loss, but from a betting perspective, the Hawks are also 12-3 against the spread of their last 15. Biggest thing to me, and biggest reason why I think that they are my team of the week, and they could even be considered, to me, like a weird team of the month sort of thing, is at the end of February, they were sitting at 9th in the Eastern Conference, and as we come down to a close of March, obviously a couple days left, still a couple games still left to play, they are currently 6th. They have outlasted some teams that I think people thought they had higher expectations for, but the Hawks are definitely not a team that I thought would be in the first 6 right now.
I mean I fully agree with you. I think that the Trey Young trade, like I'm a Trey Young supporter, but I think that trade did show that in ways it was kind of like addition by subtraction. You look at like how Norman Powell's uprise in Los Angeles, kind of like a similar example here. But Atlanta, Jalen Johnson really has stepped up to be that number one option, and they have some good role players around. So, maybe they saw this team at the deadline and thought, if we're gonna trade Trey Young, let's get a guard that can give us, can give us 20 if we desperately, we really need it, and be just like a veteran presence on the court. And you add shooting with Kispert, so I think the Hawks are a pretty well-rounded team, and yeah, I don't think I would have them as high as a 6th seed if we were having this
they're a
conversation
well-rounded
last
team,
month.
but like, I was gonna say, do you even think that even after that trade was made, that you would think you would see them even in like the play-in talks?
I didn't think they
maybe
would
10th
get
and
better. Like you wouldn't see like a drastic improvement off the trade. Like it looked like a salary dump in a lot of ways, and you were getting an older CJ
full
McCollum,
rebuild.
and turns
Right.
out it helps out the rest of the team. So, W Hawks, anything you want to throw there, Nick?
No, I was gonna say, I mean, like, realistically though, like the only two other teams that you could see could make a run. Well, now looking at the standing, it's actually kind of interesting because I would have thought like teams like Orlando and Miami would be above them by now, but they've actually taken a huge fall off at this point in the standings. But I guess it also kind of shows like the dynamic of the East versus the West, and like if you have a better all-around team built in the East, it succeeds, I guess, a
Well,
little more.
even then,
Because like if you take a look at this Hawks roster, I mean, they're really like they have good key role players, and obviously they have Jalen Johnson who's leading the charge, but you have like Dyson Daniels, Nikhil Alexander Walker's been balling for him too. So they have a lot of like key insert aspects that they've been able to get the job done.
do you think the Hawks roster is better on paper compared to the Magic?
No. On paper, no.
Exactly. So exceeding expectations from all the role players.
Yes, I agree.
My team of the week is kind of funny here. Now, before the stretch that I'm about to start with, this is a team that was 2-13 against the spread. Couldn't, pretty hard to get worse from that. But since that point, they are 8-11 or 8-3 against the spread. 8 of their last 11, and that's the Chicago Bulls. Have they won a lot of games? No, but have they stayed in these games? Yes. Outside of that 30-point loss they took to the Raptors last week, the other two losses in this spread were by half a point and by 2 points. So they've kept these again. They've been fighting these spreads pretty good here. But yeah, you take a dub against Houston. I don't think anybody expects that, even though they've been kind of not playing their best ball. And I really wanted to put the Pacers here because since last episode, the Pacers are 3-0 against the spread. And in that stretch, they snapped a 16-game losing streak, beating Orlando on the 23rd as 10.5-point underdogs. So shout out Chicago for just covering the spread, but then also just got to throw a little love to Indiana there.
And I watched that Pacers game in the last like 10 seconds or so because I think I had like I may have taken the Pacers to win in like in a way because obviously if they don't know, I have a model and my model says that the Pacers are a value play in that situation. And I was like, you know what, I'll throw 5 on the value plays, and there were only 2. I think the one of the teams lost, but yeah, there's a huge controversial play for the game winner there. Paulo got like hammered on a layup and they just didn't call anything. So that really could have changed things, but nevertheless, maybe Adam Silver had enough. He was like, the Pacers need one right here. Do not blow your whistle. Do not blow that whistle into the final 10. But hey, that Pacers flow goes right into first poop team of the week for me, which happens to be the Orlando Magic. If I'm a Magic fan, I'm so pissed. Like genuinely, it's been a rough stretch for them. And I know they just played Cleveland last night, and that's never an easy team to face. But the Magic are on a 6-game losing streak right now, and in what could be called, the most pivotable time to be getting your shit together. And a 6-game losing streak, one of those being to the Pacers, also a team that's currently 8-7 against the spread. And they were a team that was also 6th in the Eastern Conference not too long ago, but now has slid down to 8th in the Eastern Conference. The only other notable teams have the same exact record as them, 38-34. Charlotte, who is 9th, and Miami, who is 10th. So if I'm an Orlando fan, you are praying to God that they start to get it together, because right now, like this is just not the time to be having that sort of stretch.
Yeah, if any world I'm trading more than 3 first-round picks for Desmond Bane, and he's putting up the season that he is right now, I'm punching the air, dude.
I mean, he's had some.
Are
good
you
games.
punching more than air? I feel like you do have reason
My
to.
desk.
Yeah, you could punch a lot
my
of
monitor,
things.
everything, dude. I'm driving to Disney World and I'm punching Mickey Mouse right in the face. I am pissed off if I'm an Orlando Magic fan.
My basketball team gave up too many assets.
But now
we
this
were
50-year-old man. 50-year-old man who's just trying to make it to Miller time at Disney is gonna get decked because Desmond Bane can't pull his weight.
I guess we'll head into my poop team of the week.
Whoa. I want to talk about the Magic. This team that we thought was going to be a bunch of strong wizards, and instead, they're a bunch of minimum wage workers at Disney World. We mentioned that this team was already on our list of like a playoff pretender, and then since we've made that episode, they haven't really gotten much better at that. We posted a clip from that episode on social media, and you saw a bunch of people online defending the fact that the Magic, their full core hasn't really played much together. They've only played about 15 games. So, yes, as it looks like the Magic, without Franz and with how Paulo has been playing, they haven't looked the greatest, especially as of late. But I think, we were hard on the Magic, and I think rightfully so. But until we see this team back with Franz Wagner, I think it's not fair to give them the same expectations we had at the beginning of the year.
Maybe not completely fair, but and they've had a weird stretch recently, the teams that they've played, but dropping 6 in a row here, Atlanta was one of the teams that they lost to by 12. Oklahoma City, they managed to, lose that by 5, which, if I was the Thunder versus the Magic, I think the Magic are getting blown out of the water there. They lost to Charlotte and by 19. Of course, that loss to the Pacers, the Lakers who are hot too, and then the Cavs closed them out last night. I mean, there's just a lot to be concerned about. Just like when Franz comes back, does that like fix all their problems all of a sudden?
Maybe not fix all their problems, but I think you add Franz, and that definitely impacts the game in an insane amount. I mean, your second option, arguably first on certain nights. So I think, yeah, you put him in this lineup. Maybe they don't lose to OKC by 5 there. Maybe that Pacers game doesn't come down to the wire. So
Yeah,
I think
mean, the last thing
there's
I'll say about the Magic is like I mean, if you've watched any of their games, they just look disconnected. Like there's not really a whole flow to that offense. It's a pray Paulo can get to his range and make some shots, or Desmond Bain can hit his threes, but there's not a whole lot of like chemistry on that team. It looks like they just don't play with any sort of flow.
they're not a roster that's like really built around the three. Like Desmond Bain is your best 3-point shooter, and then who would you volunteer number 2 from there? We saw Javon Carter take a
Tristan
a shot
decent.
out of a timeout. So yeah, a team that isn't excelling at shooting the 3, I'm always gonna fade heading into playoffs. But now Nick, you can talk about your poop team.
Okay. Well, my poop team is actually known for shooting the 3 historically. The Golden State Warriors. This is the team that has had Steph Curry in. After tonight will be the 23rd straight game, and I mean it shows, man. In their last 20, they're 6-14 outright. They've covered the spread only 6 times in their last 15 games. This season alone, they're 12-21 against the spread after a win, which is not great. Which is a 36% rate. So if the Warriors win a game, best to not bet them against the spread afterwards, because there's less than a 50% chance they cover.
I think that also just adds to the fact that how bad they've been without Steph. This was a
Right.
team that they were in the playoff race, and now they've just fallen out of it entirely.
Well, to be fair, and it goes into, like I mentioned with the Pelicans, I mean, like the the West is the play-in from the Pelicans to the Warriors, like they still have a 9-game lead. Like it's impossible for them to play out of the play-in at this point, but still, at the end of the season, when you're heading into the play-in and you're 2-8 in your last 10 and you're riddled with injuries, I mean, prayers up to Moses Moody. I know that injury was awful, but even then, Curry still being out, Al Horford's missing time, Quentin Post is out. You're just your whole team's out, and B-Pod's been stepping up, but also at the same time, like he's also been dealing with some injuries too. So I mean, this roster's definitely had some bad luck. It's definitely getting to that point where like age is starting to consider a factor with this Warriors team. And they're just still in it, luckily, just by how skilled, like how different the West was. But like, yeah, heading in the play-in, it doesn't look good for them.
I would even say that the Warriors are kind of past the point of thinking that like or of age hitting them. Like I think we're not seeing like Steph decline or anything, but like Steph hasn't played in how many games now? And
23.
yeah, and with that being said, like you just look at that unit without him on the floor, and like I don't think they were prepared for Steph to possibly not be a part of this portion of the season. Draymond
Right.
Green, I mean, is the same Draymond Green we've been seeing for the last couple of years. He does his normal 8, 6, and 5, like, and otherwise, like you're asking for guys like Guy Santos to step up, which he's been a surprise to see him just kind of embrace that role. Quentin Post, um, serviceable big man. I don't think there's anything too crazy or special about him. You really wish Kristaps could be a bit healthier because you know what he can be when he is on. And B Pod's like, I don't know how I feel about B Pods. I know a lot of people hate him, and I can see like on certain nights, and I also watched against the Knicks when the Warriors had a chance to beat the Knicks. He just pulled up for 3 for some reason when they were out down 2 with like 40 seconds left, and Steve Kerr's like defending that shot. Like B Pods has some questionable decision making, but there's also some nights that he is a huge reason why they might come out with a win or even be close. But it's a weird unit. I don't think it's one that works in any situation here. I don't even think this team with Steph Curry healthy goes any further than maybe the second round at the best. Of course, Jimmy Butler, if he's healthy, that might change things a little bit. But even then, I'm not really impressed by this Warriors roster.
Yeah, like I funny enough, like a good comp I could say, especially with baseball season starting, actually, the day that we're recording this. But I think like B Pods in a lot of ways is kind of like Anthony Volpe. Like he's the shortstop of the Yankees, a historic position that's always, for the Yankees for like 25 years had, a staple guy there. So I think the expectations are high. And then you look at the Warriors and yeah, we're at the end of a Warriors dynasty. And, they've been trying to cling to what little they have from it. And a lot of the draft picks have missed. I know, again, Moses Moody, sad that he went down, but he's been, if you look at his career as a whole, probably a disappointment. And B-Pods was kind of somebody that exceeded expectations early on. And, now like Brooklyn says, if Curry's healthy, maybe I don't even I don't even try to say that the Warriors win in the second round.
I'm kind of just sitting here like not believing you just like saw this man blow his knee out. Not even 2 days later, like he's a disappointment. Like,
it's really unfortunate timing. I was wondering what I got you guys laughing about so bad. But
that's incredibly unfortunate timing to drop that line.
I mean, again, Moses Moody, he's a good NBA player, and his injury is brutal. But for his career, he was a top pick, and he's both him and Wiseman in the same draft, and neither one of them have really played up to expectations. So, yeah, going back to my point, I think B-Pods, exceeded expectations early and is seen as like the young guy that's going to help this dynasty out. So I think he just gets a lot more eyes than, players that are in similar roles as him that just aren't on as big of teams. But like you said, even with Curry healthy, I think this team, I don't think they win a playoff series. And if Curry's out, I think you could say that there's 9 teams in the NBA that could win a playoff game right now that of the top 10. Like, I think there's no way that this Warriors team wins a game.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah, I hope Moses Moody does not stumble across this podcast because he's going to be, like, recovering from, like, surgery. He's like, bro, why do they call me a disappointment? Like, statistically, he's having his best season of his career.
Nico's already getting a lot of unpopular love on social media as it is.
Yeah,
so.
like a topic we'll talk about very soon. But,
yeah, let's go to the last poop team of the week, my team of the week. And, I mentioned Chicago having this big win against an unexpected Rockets team. But the Houston Rockets have been, Houston, we do have a problem. We might have more than just one. Last week, I mentioned again, like another, the Magic were one of our playoff pretenders. The Rockets, one of our playoff pretenders. But in their last 9, they're 2-7 against the spread. If you go back all the way to the end of December, they have only covered in back-to-back games in one other stretch since then. So we're talking almost 3 months, where in between those 3 months, they went on a 4-game win streak against the spread. But outside of that, they have not won back-to-back games against the spread. And you look at the recent schedule, again, a loss to Denver. I think that both those teams match up pretty evenly, but I'd still say that Houston should make it closer than it was. And then I think the nail in the coffin of what solidified them as my poop team of the week was just the back-to-backs against the Lakers. At home, and you just get spanked. Get spanked by Luka, and he's been absolutely balling out. So Nick, on last episode I said that the Rockets, they're a bottom 10 team defensively, they're a bottom 5 team at shooting the 3, and those are 2 big metrics that I think separate you from legit playoff contenders to playoff pretenders. And since that argument, they've come out and they've shot the lights on. So shout out the Rockets.
Yeah, I mean, this was a team, especially on paper, after KD went there, that everybody was like, oh my God, new powerhouse in the West. And it definitely did look like that for a little while. I mean, they were sitting comfortably at the 3 seed, but now it's kind of like roles reversed. Lakers are kind of on the hot streak, and the Rockets are kind of playing themselves out of that. It's kind of shows. And I don't know if you guys have looked at Segun's box scores recently the last few games, but he's kind of been like subpar. Like,
I was gonna say, I
not
feel like
putting up
all
double
season,
digits. Like, he's definitely taken a drop off. I don't necessarily know if that's KD being there, but like the numbers that he was putting up last year to this year, it does not compare. I don't know if that's just how they're playing the game or whatever. I mean, they're still winning games, but it doesn't look like it's definitely not as consistent as we were seeing it the year before. Because Sengun was having a lot of praise going into the season, and now if you look at his stats, they're still good, but it's not consistent, especially in their losses.
Yeah, across the board, I think Sengun's had just some consistency issues. I mean, he has his nights absolutely where he goes off. Like literally when they lost to the Bulls, had 33 and 19 shot attempts, 16 of 19 from the field. Like great, triple double in that game as well. Like Sengun, like it's not like he's lost his like self, but I think there is also a little bit of a drop off because he doesn't get the same volume as he did before KD got there. And I can't even tell what to pinpoint. Why the Rockets are slipping up as of late. Don't know if it's because they just can't close games out right now. And obviously their loss to the Lakers, it's just that like they've had some tough losses. I don't think they just had some unlucky moments, like barely beating the Heat and losing to the Lakers twice. But one of those games came down pretty close to the wire. If you were watching that, they're not a bad team. They're just not playing that great right now.
But I think they have very obvious weaknesses where I think, you can look at like the Lakers, you can look at the Thunder, and you could say like, yeah, those teams have bad games. They might have a bad quarter. They might have a bad stretch. But the Rockets, you can specifically pinpoint their problems and you see them, on a game-to-game basis. So, not only have they, like I said, they've been bad against the spread, but on the entire season, they are the third worst team against the spread. So,
just want to point something out here as we are recording. Luka Doncic currently has like 20 points in the first quarter. We're going to talk about Luka later on.
Could we be in the middle of history?
He is currently 7 for 11 with 19 and scores 43-27 in the first.
Yeah, let's keep a Luka clock going just in case we witness history. Nick.
Yeah, well, you know what?
I was just going on ESPN because I was looking for our draft in a little bit, and I was like, oh, these games started. I saw the score, and I'm like, 50 points in the first quarter.
I think that's the perfect segue into what we're about to talk about next year.
I agree.
And we're gonna break it right into it right now that we're talking about Luka. I'll open this up here. Player of the week, poop player of the week. My player of the week has to be Luka. And you might be thinking, oh, it's of course, you got to pick some generic all-star superstar. No, dude. Luka's been on something different this month. Like, not saying that he's not capable of doing this type of thing every single night, but he has like done it every single night in the month of March. 36.5 points is what he's averaging in this month. If you go on most sports books, his line is around 34.5. And that is the highest that we've seen that at him for him consistently since December. And that is, how high of a line that is? 34.5 points to consistently, you're like, oh, I think Luka's going to hit it. He has hit it 60%, 6 of the last 10. But you'd be up on saying, I think Luka's going to drop 35 or more in the last 10 games.
That's
and
insane.
the Lakers have been just so good recently. And Sensational doesn't even cover like what Luka does on a night-to-night basis right now. But that volume, it's unmatched. I don't think you find me another player in the league that has had a month where that is higher than 36.5 points as their average. I don't know if there is one. If there is one, prove me wrong. But Luka is absolutely my player of the week right now.
I would not be able to get that stat out instantly. If I had to make a guess, though, I feel like Jokic has definitely done that before. Maybe not this season, but probably went a month averaging 36. And I don't think
Harden.
Like prime Harden. Yeah, Houston Harden.
Before we talk about Harden a little bit more, I'm talking about like let's put the emphasis on current NBA.
But yeah, right. If you just go through the box scores on the points, if you go back from like I'm going back from March 6th, right? So we're looking at about 10 games here. 44, 35, 31, 51, 30, 36, 40, 60, 33, 32.
The 60-point game was like, if you look at his box score, dude, it's so gross. Like, granted, this is a guy that dropped 70 not too long ago, still, but like, Jesus, man.
You know the meme trending around where it's like, oh, you're a rookie in the NBA, you're a rookie guard, go guard prime Luka Doncic.
And dude, to put things into perspective, like the average NBA player, 3-point percentage also here shoots anything from maybe 35 to 36% on average. Above average, maybe 37%. Luka is averaging 5 threes a game on 13 attempts, shooting right around 38%. So he's shooting above average at such a high volume. Like, I don't know, man. Like,
he's shooting almost 50% from the floor.
It's gonna make he's shooting 48.2% collectively.
Like, what?
It's gonna make a conversation that we are gonna have and a little bit very difficult for me to truly lean on one side.
He has 21 at the end of the first quarter.
I will say though, in his last 2 games,
I took it over 34.5. I'm not gonna lie. Once I saw like the amount of times and how many points he's averaging in the freaking month, like I'm like, absolutely, I'll give that a shot. Now that being said, Redick's probably gonna sit him in the second half. Who knows?
No, he better not. He
has taken 26 threes in the last 2 games.
Yeah, leave that type of volume to MPJ, but dude, it's working.
He's
Like,
gone
the
6 for
Lakers-
26 from 3 in the last 2 games. That is the same amount of shots Jalen Green took in when he hit the buzzer beater over the Magic.
But like, dude, it's working. Like the Lakers have like in their last since March 6th, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 wins and then 1 loss to Detroit the other night. Like
No, he looks great,
this,
and
that's
he also
yeah,
he does look a lot slimmer than he did when he joined the Lakers. You see the before and
it's crazy.
afters.
Yeah, it's because Nico
Yes.
Harrison took that beer away from him.
Such a sad video. He deserved the beer, goddammit. But what about you, Nick?
My player of the week actually has to. It's a big part of actually why the Atlanta Hawks have been doing so well, and it is Nikhil Alexander-Walker. He's averaged 24 points per game in his last 10 for the Hawks. Granted, and when the Hawks were going on that streak, he's 8 for 10 at over 18.5 points per game in his last 10. And he's been hitting that line 60% on the season, and he's actually played a decent amount of games. And I know we kind of mentioned like Jalen Johnson, Dyson Daniels. I mean, Jonathan Kuminga, he's there too. But granted, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, he's been a pleasant surprise for this team. And I think it was last night or 2 nights ago, when they had 147 points dropped against the Grizzlies, he led the team with 26, and he shot 7 for 10 from 3. So he's been very consistent. He's been very prominent to why the Hawks has been successful. And I mean, if you've been betting the over on Nikhil Alexander-Walker points in the last 10, I mean, you've been winning some money too. That's for sure.
Kind of
Yeah,
always like just somebody I root for. He's been a role player that's survived a couple different teams, and he's getting this a little bit more of an opportunity in Atlanta. So
Isn't he Shea Alexander? Isn't he Shea's cousin?
yeah.
It runs in the blood, man. They're just ballers. No, Nikhil, he's been great. Like if you watch like the game against the Magic, he was dominant as hell. Like he's a fun player to watch, and especially like I feel like the Hawks have been playing like they have nothing to lose until they realize they have something to lose now. and, and it's kind of been really fun to watch. The Hawks have been great.
It's
And
like,
I think he's an absolute.
The,
It's either him or Jalen Johnson who's the reason for most of their success. Like
the Hawks are just like messing around, like, oh, we're gonna put the ball in the basket, and then all of a sudden you get late in the year and they're like, oh shit, we might got
Nikhil
something
Alexander
here.
Walker's doing like that TikTok trend where he's like, and the buckets like start following. He's like, oh shit.
I understand it now.
I get it.
Going to my player of the week here. I'm gonna be going, and it's a little bit silly, player of the week. He's only played once this week, and hasn't played in almost a month. So it's like, wow, has he really been good this week? But I'm taking his sample size as it is off of like his last 10, and that's gonna be Peyton Watson. So he's only played 1 game since he's returned from injury, and he put up 14 points. But if you were somebody that invested in his over and points line, I spelled his name wrong. 1 moment. If you invested in his over 11.5 points, it is 9 for its last 10, 18 for its last 20. In this 20-game stretch, which again, I know is in between injuries, he's averaged almost 19 points a game. Now, I don't know how much you've watched of the Nuggets, but when you think of the Nuggets, you think, obviously, there's Jokic, then you have Jamal Murray, then you got Aaron Gordon, you got Cam Johnson filling the MPJ role. But Peyton Watson is the 4th highest scorer on this team. For the season, he's averaging 15, and this is a guy that still gets his shots up with or without Jokic. He came back after not playing for almost 2 months, and he put up 13 shots in 20 minutes. So he gets his opportunities, and yeah, again, if it's anything like what it was before he got hurt, this is going to be a nice hit rate. Not only, like I said, his points at 9 for its last 10, 18 for its last 20. Even if you take his points rebounds line at 15.5, they have the exact same hit rates of 90% in the last 10 and last 20.
Jamal Murray is a great player in his own right, but like when Jokic was out for that period of time, I think it was like 4 weeks or something. Peyton Watson was like the first, if not the first on some nights, the second reason why the Nuggets did not just like absolutely fall apart. And Peyton Watson had a stretch, I think, where he was like averaging them 20 plus for like a good 5, 6, maybe 10 games even. So to get him back is huge right now, especially the Nuggets have kind of slipped and fallen to the 6th seed. And it's, I think that as he eases back into it, he should find a little bit more of himself back. Obviously, it takes a minute, but um, I think they're getting him back at the perfect time here to make a bigger push to maybe get a better seed.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking predominantly about the Lakers, but they're also only like 2 games ahead of Denver. I mean, Denver's kind of taken that forefront over Houston in the standings, and I think that Denver has the roster still, especially with Jokic, where they can stay above them. Um, but they're definitely still kind of the dangerous team that's been in the West. They have the experience. I mean, I know Aaron Gordon's been banged up, but if they get him back healthy, then you're looking at a completely different roster, and it's a roster that won a championship with their key pieces not too long ago. So I still say whenever Jokic is in the playoffs, it's Denver's still a sleeper team, no matter what, in my opinion. Like if Shea and Luka weren't having the years that they would have, I would consider Jokic being the MVP every single year, just because of how dynamic he is and like how much he adds to that team. That could be a topic for a different day. Oh, don't give me that look. Come on.
It's just
Are you
funny 'cause
serious?
we're talking MVP odds and our MVP just in a little bit, and you're teasing Jokic
Yeah,
there.
I know. I'm just
Let's put a pin in
mean,
it for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
we'll put a pin in it. But no, I definitely think I lost my train of thought there. Forget it.
Let me get us on back on the just because we're yapping for a while here. Let me talk about my poop player. Lakers have been great. We talked about them last week as a team of the week. Luka's balling out right as we're recording and in his last like 10 games. But Jake LaRavia, man, so much fun on the Lakers roster, and it has not been fun for him. Some would call him, the cardio guy, an elite all NBA cross country team. But if you took his over at 9.5 points in the last 10 games, you would have made money 0 times. It has gone 0 for its last 10. Over 20 games, 4 for its last 20. That's not very high. PRAs and his points rebounds lines, both at 1 for its last 20. Kind of sad I didn't get a laugh there on the 420 joke. But the irony of it is the PRAs, the points rebounds, those are both hitting at either 10% or lower, but his points assists has hit in 9 of his last 10. But I want to shout out a specific performance. We've made a couple jokes about guys that, have nominees for like all NBA cross country teams. Mikal had that 30-minute game where he didn't put up any buckets. But Jake LaRavia on the 21st against the Magic, 14 points, 1 steal, 1 rebound, 0 for 5 from the field. He has not had a double-digit scoring game since February 28th.
Yeah. Yeah, but he also was a guy who for a stretch of games was actually having a little bit of a run, but obviously some guys either fit that role and they stay there, like Peyton Watson stepped up, or you want to make. I think last week you made fun of me for making fun of Bruce Brown. Now you're putting on Jake LaRavia, like.
Bruce Brown's got a ring.
Well, Bruce Brown hasn't made us much money, and neither is Jake over here. So,
Jake, step it up.
That's fair.
He's had 2 goose eggs in his last 10 games. Other one, he played 21 minutes.
Just to see that amount of time you get wasted on the court for a job that I think everyone wished they had when they were a kid. 21 minutes to just genuinely just do sprints.
Yeah, they put Jake out there. He knows he's going to shoot the ball 5 times, and then it's go guard 37-year-old Kevin Durant.
Yeah, Jake LaRavia. I mean, he's either on.
Who are they playing tonight?
They're playing the Pacers, so this could be a Jake LaRavia masterclass night.
Go guard Andrew Nemhard.
Luka's got 21 1 quarter.
Well, let's take that right into my poop player of the week, and now we're gonna go at someone with a bit of status here. A vet, a guy that might have some expectations behind his name. Tobias Harris, man, you're getting paid like $26 million a year, and I get it. For the most of the season, it's been the Cade show, Cade and Duran. But for a guy getting paid that much, I expect him to kind of genuinely be a bit more of almost a second option than maybe just Jalen Duren alone. Tobias Harris, in his last 15 games, his points line has been right around 13.5. That's not like nothing by any means, but he's only hit that 6 times. His under on points has hit at a 60% rate this season. Think about how many games we're in right now. The fact that Tobias Harris has not been able to cross over 13.5 points more than half of that. I think for a guy again who's making that much money playing as a complete starter on a team that literally just seems like it is only Cade sometimes. Like I don't know, man. I feel like that production is not enough to justify who Tobias Harris should be for this team.
Yeah, he's just onked, dude.
Yeah, he's just old. It's a bad contract.
Straight up unk.
It's an awful contract for him to be given that production.
But there's like every 5 games he does something, and you're like, that Tobias guy. That's why you were a pain in my side all those years.
Let me note that like I'm not saying that Tobias Harris doesn't have impact on other parts of the game. Like he is a guy who will at least like get solid numbers on the boards and mix in some assists too. But I just think especially with Cade being out now for I think what's going to be another couple of weeks or so, it can't be on Duncan Robinson and company. Like it's got to be Tobias Harris and Jalen. Tobias has to become a little bit more of the. I mean, you can't say Orlando because that's way back, but Philly Tobias wasn't too bad, and now Detroit Tobias is like Memphis Vince Carter.
Whoa.
Okay, that's an extension.
Whoa.
What is the beef we have with a guy named Tobias?
Dallas Mavericks Vince Carter.
Hawks Vince Carter, right? There was some pop still in those legs.
That's better. Or Kings Vince Carter even.
10 days ago, 33 minutes, 21 points on 9 of 12. 3 for 3 from 3.
I'm not saying he's been playing horrible.
Give Unk his flowers.
But especially with Cade being out right now, I kind of expect that performance a little bit more from him, a little bit more consistently. Against the Wizards, 22 minutes log, 7 points against the Wizards.
Were you guys Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans?
Yes.
You know the meme where like, it's all the little turtles when they're getting trained, and now it's like as they're older, they do the opposite. It's kind of like, what I feel like the Pistons are to Tobias Harris. Like he was there when the Pistons were mid. And now he's not the same player he once was, and he needs everybody he's like, don't worry guys, I'll give you the 12 you need. Maybe not 14, but I'll give you the 12. Exactly.
Dennis Jenkins is like, don't worry, I'll take the reins from here. Look at Dennis Jenkins, that's a player of the week right there too. Holy crap!
But Nick, send us off before we talk about MVPs.
Okay. My poop player of the week, also on a poop team. We're going John Conchar. I hope I said that last name right.
It's like Bruce Brown. Like, why are you picking on him? Like John Conchar on like one of the worst teams in the league.
It's the 50 Cent meme.
I mean, this
team.
team.
Why you say fuck me for?
Isaiah Collier, he's been out. Ace Bailey's actually been balling. This guy though, not so much. If you've taken his over 7.5 rebound assist line at all this season, it's been hitting at a solid 17% hit rate. This guy is not great. He's averaging 5.8 rebounds, assists in his last 10. He's averaging 4 points in his last 10. 1.6 assists at shooting guard in his last 10. Every statistic that you could take for him, points, assists, rebounds, the over has hit below 20% this season. Granted, he doesn't get a lot of minutes, but he's played 46 games. He averages like 17 minutes a game, but
he's got a crazy
dude.
He's got a crazy box score on Monday.
The Jazz are an anomaly. Yeah, I'm looking at
if you took his over on points on Monday, that would have cashed. Okay. Everything else, no.
Well, you want to talk about like a crazy box score on Monday? Let's go back to Monday the 9th when they played the Warriors. This is a 6'5" guard that we're talking about. Who got 33 minutes, got 2 points and 10 rebounds. What in the Mitch Rob are we doing here?
Yeah, like
bro, you are
utilizing his minutes.
Mom, I want Ben Simmons. We have Ben Simmons at home.
This is his 6th season in the league, and he's averaging 3.5 points, and on a team that has not had Keontae George and Laurie for a good stretch of it. Come on, man, you got to do more with your opportunity there. That's bad. That's just bad.
Hey, but shout out that game against the Raptors. 8 for 8 from the free throw line. 19 points on 4 makes. Yeah, brother got to eat a little bit though.
You've been betting on John. You won the other day, but the rest of the year, not so much.
Not to mention that game that I said where he had 10 rebounds and 2 points. That was his most minutes of the season.
Welp.
33 was his highest.
I thought Bruce Brown was going to get the craziest stray on this show, and I guess we're wrong. But
to
recap,
John Conchar.
recap everything. Our good teams of the week. Shout out the Chicago Bulls, the New Orleans Pelicans, and the Atlanta Hawks. And our bad teams, the Houston Rockets, the Golden State Warriors, and the Orlando Magic. No shout outs there. All 3 current playoff teams that we shit on, funny enough. And then the players, our good players of the week, Peyton Watson, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, and Luka Doncic. Our poop players of the week, Jake LaRavia, John Conchar, and Tobias Harris. I just love the random pairing of players we discuss each week and how they don't make us money. But almost, like 45 minutes into this episode, we're going to be talking about SGA, like the MVP race. Right, as it stands now, when I made the doc yesterday, Shea was minus 1,000 on DraftKings to win MVP. Now he's down to minus 800. Needs 5 more games to qualify for playing 65 games. And I'm going to leave the floor to you guys because my take's pretty boring. I think it should be Shea. Again, minus 800 for a reason. I could explain it a little bit further, but I kind of want to give the floor to you guys to see if there's anybody out there that thinks that SGA should not win the MVP.
I'm gonna give the floor right to Nick here because I want to hear what he says, and I'm like I said, this is a segment
back.
This is genuinely a segment where I'm having trouble like leaning definitely on one side. So I'm gonna give it to Nick here. Maybe his argument will persuade me to go his way, or maybe the other way. We'll see.
I genuinely think that Luka Doncic should be the MVP this season, and I think I get the whole narrative of like best team, best player, whatnot. But if you genuinely look at the stats that he has been putting up since December, if you're basing the MVP off of statistics alone, it should be clear as day that it should be him. When you take a look at what he's done so far this season, what he leads in categories this year, he's first in points per game at 33.4. He's first in the league in threes made per game. He leads the league in 30-point games. He leads the league in 40-point games. He's first in the league in rebounds per game amongst guards. He's second in the league in 30-point triple-doubles this year, and he's third in the league in assists per game. So he's top 3 in 7 categories in the league, by the way. He's averaging 33. He's shooting nearly 50% from the floor. He's shooting above average from 3 at 38%. Granted, he's taking a little more free throws than Shea, but the usage is more effective. And I know that if you have a higher usage rate, that should showcase that you're more valuable to the team, in my opinion. You need to play. You are the reason why that they are winning games. If you need to be out there, then yeah, your usage rate is going to be higher. And I guarantee you, if you took Luka off that roster, their wins added probably goes down a significant impact. And I'm not saying that Shea isn't an MVP, but this Thunder roster has shown already when he's missed out, they've been able to win. And going into the playoffs, if Luka's not on that Lakers roster and is just LeBron leading the charge, I don't think they make it past the second round. I think it's a little more difficult. I think when you put Luka on that roster, especially with what he's been doing this season, it makes them a powerhouse. It makes them dangerous. And they've been able to climb up into the standings from 7 to 3rd. And they're outplaying teams in the West to stay on 3rd. They've won 10 in a row and in convincing fashion. So I rest my case. I think it should be Luka Doncic. I can totally see why it shouldn't be, but I firmly believe that it should be based off of if you're going on most valuable player to your team, it just, the numbers and the statistics just go off of that, and they're winning games. And if they make an impact in the playoffs, if they make a deep run in the playoffs and Luka continues his dominance into the playoffs, if he doesn't win MVP, then I think that's going to change the narrative 100%.
I feel like the MVP every year is not like, every year we hear the argument that player A should get the MVP because they're more valuable to their team, even though player B statistically is a better player. And so you're saying Luka is more valuable?
Yes, but I also feel like the numbers are showing that he's been a better player this season as well.
Not entirely. The way I'll jump in here and see how Brooklyn feels after hearing both sides of this. But to defend Shea as the MVP, you mentioned the usage rate. Luka has the highest usage rate in the league at 38%. That is 5% higher than Shea. Whereas if you look at, the win shares, estimated number of wins contributed by a player, Shea leads the league at 13.8. Luka is fourth at 9. And again, you account for who's got a higher turnover rate. That's Luka. Who's had a worse shooting percentage this year? That's Luka. Who's shooting at a higher true shooting percentage? That's Shea. So I look at this as like, yes, the Thunder have a better roster than the Lakers. But if you just compare Luka to Shea, just as they are, as two players, you're going to show me that, yes, Luka has a lot more of the higher, 30-point games, 40-point games. But has he been more efficient than Shea? The answer is no. I mean, Shea's averaging less than a point fewer than his MVP season last year, and he's taking less attempts, and he's more efficient. He's playing arguably better than last year, and he won the MVP last year.
But you can't say that a guy hasn't been efficient when he's just averaged 36 in a month.
I'm not saying he's inefficient. I'm saying compared to Shea, he's less efficient. He's less efficient shooting. He's less efficient on the turnovers.
Luka Doncic is currently having a career year in field goals attempted, as well as 3 points made and 3-pointers attempted, as well as free throws attempted. So he is scoring the ball at an insane rate already. This is almost his career year from 2023, 2024, nearly the same stats. He's averaging one shot below that. All I'm saying is, realistically, I feel like at the end of the day, no matter what, Luka's definitely made an impact to where the conversation should sway in his favor. It should change, no matter. I get the usage rate that you say and the efficiency, but
what about the other side of the ball? Shea is a much better defender than Luka.
In that 10-game stretch that the Lakers won, Luka led the league in steals. He had 23 steals in their 10 games.
But his steals everything? You're telling me
it shows he's been.
He can pickpocket.
Oh, what do you mean it steals everything? It shows that he's been defensive and offensively efficient, both sides, when they won on a 10-game streak. What are you talking about?
But Shea's averaging more steals a game, and Shea has a higher defensive win share.
Luka is averaging a steal and a half per game.
Yes, but he allows more points on a nightly basis than Shea. So would you say he's better defensively?
When James Harden won the MVP, he wasn't getting talked for his defensive stats. He was getting praised for dropping 34 a night.
James Harden didn't have to worry about the MVP that's arguably having a better season than his MVP season the previous year.
Right, but you can't talk about defensive stats when that's already been disproven before, though.
But that's the thing that has always held Luka back. Luka's always been a bad defender, and Harden led a Rockets team to a much higher seed than where the Lakers are currently. I think you take that into account. And also, yes, Luka's been on an insane stretch at this point in the year. But didn't Harden finish the season averaging 35? If Luka gets to that point, I think that's a different conversation. But yeah.
I think he could get to that point. He definitely can.
Harden averaged 36 a game. For Luka...
He is on pace to average 35 towards the end of the season if he keeps this up. Nico, this is a guy that has how much does he have right now in this quarter? How much does he have in this game right now?
He has 24 before half, and there's still 3 minutes.
All right.
But is scoring the basketball everything in this sport?
No, if you can make your teammates around you better, and I'd say he does that.
I think the team that scores the most points in the game wins. So,
that is true. Brooklyn, you get in on this.
Yes.
What if hearing both sides of the battle here? What sticks out to you?
It's really the biggest debate of if I'm siding more with the man's 130 consecutive game streak of scoring 20 or more. Shea has not had a game where he scored less than 20 points since November 1st of 2024, which is crazy. So he's it shows the insane efficiency of just what he brings to the table every single night. But Luka, in his own right, has been so, like Nick said, is dominant in top 3 in 7 different categories. Also leading the league in points scored. Like this is a much closer. I think this is a much closer battle than anyone's giving it credit for. I think people are just saying that SGA is so damn good at keeping the Thunder a consistent team. They are the best team in the league. Arguably you can already say, like, because of SGA's impact on the Thunder with them being the best team in the league, he should be MVP in there. But at the same time, Nick's, very right, where if you take Luka out of the picture, and not saying that's any different with Shea, the Lakers are kind of an absolute fraction of what they would be with him on the court. It's really difficult for me to give like a complete standpoint. I would side a little bit more with Shea just because of his overall impact on terms of how the Thunder are currently the best team in the league, and he's been a completely efficient scorer night in, night out, every single night. He's got that impact, and whether it be from drawing a lot of free throws or not, like the usage is all there. Like they're very, very even in terms of how important they are to their systems. But I think the Thunder kind of have a team that is meant to revolve around Shea.
I think these next 10 games are going to be very telling in this MVP race. It's very close. I mean, the odds, you said it yourself, they were minus 1,000 and now they're minus 800. They're going down slowly but surely. Keep in mind, I also just want to clarify, I bet Luka to win MVP 2 weeks ago when he was 5th best odds, and he has now jumped all the way to 2nd. So I'm also riding a future bet here. But also at the same time, future bet aside, bias aside, I would still think it's Luka Doncic being MVP.
I don't know. Again, he's you could argue he's been the better scorer this year, but to the way that the game's impacted on all levels, I think Shea has done a better job. But neither one of us is going to convince the other. But yeah,
No,
so Brooklyn, you end your stance on Shea.
I have my stance more lenient towards Shea, but I'm not going to.
I'm done. I'm leaving.
I'm not gonna be shocked in the slightest if Luka ends up walking out with it, because I think that it's a very even race, and I know Luka hasn't been in this conversation for a large portion of the season up until like now. But if you look at those statistics side by side, and yes, he's had a crazy month of March, but also just like look at the Lakers with and without Luka. You guys know a stat I look into a lot is just box score plus minus, and it shows basically an overall impact of how a team is with that player, like how much value he brings to that team. Shea currently has the highest BPM of his career this year of 12. That's like the number 12 in a BPM standpoint means
it's pretty sick.
Completely irreplaceable. His BPM last year
irreplaceable.
His BPM last year was 11.5. He is playing better than his MVP season.
BPM, CPM don't mean shit. I don't give a fuck.
Give me Luka
Doncic, baby.
It is gonna wind up being on
DPM.
A little bit of a smaller sample size of games, but I say a little bit of a smaller sample size because he played 76 in 2024, and I'm not sure exactly how many games are left this year. But even then, that stat stands out on its own, that he is playing at a more valuable. He's been playing in a more valuable way this whole season than he did in his MVP season. So
we'll be posting these clips on social, like that _pod. You'll definitely see some segment of this. Feel free to give your intake. If anybody's wondering, though,
shout out the 10,000 viewers and the over hundreds of comments that we've gotten on Nico claiming that SGA is the best scorer he's ever seen, and we're just gonna put it because we understand.
Yes,
that was the only context in the clip, but that sparks some outrage.
If you listen to the episode, I mentioned that I've only been to 3 NBA games in my life, and I've seen. It was like 2020. I saw the Jazz play the Celtics. Then my next game after that, I think it was 2022. I went to Nuggets at Wizards. And then my most recent game that I went to was last season, watching the Thunder play the Celtics. And I mentioned that Shea's the best player I've ever seen in real life. And the social media clip takes it right from that point without me explaining that I've only seen 3 NBA games. So people are online are like, this dude got glasses for a reason. He'd never seen Harden play. What about the Kevin Durant mid-range?
The amount of times I've gotten I've gotten the amount of times I've seen did you guys just start watching basketball 2 years ago? Meanwhile, I lived and watched basketball way through the Jeremy Lin Knicks era and the Andre Blatch and Darren Williams, Joe Johnson era on the Nets.
It's like, no, bitch.
Yeah, man, every time I watched Chris Humphries start for the Celtics. I don't want to hear shit.
It's like, no, every time James Harden went to the Garden, it was like $400,
Yeah, and you want to know about how long we've been watching basketball. That segment's coming up pretty soon, but
yeah, we're before we get to the hoop grid, let's actually jump into this fantasy draft. So again, we're drafting 2 guards, 3 forwards, kind of like your all NBA teams, but we're doing a fantasy draft. Order that was randomized before the episode started gives Nick first, myself second, and then Brooklyn gets the turn to start. And yeah, just drafting solely based off of this season. So you can't take Tatum unless if you do, that's delusional. No Boombo, I don't think. But Nick, this is again, I think if this is Brooklyn or I, clearly Shea goes number 1. But type it in whenever you're ready. Feel free to explain who you think has been the best player.
I'm taking John Contra. No, I'm joking. I'm taking Luka Doncic 1-1. Give me Luka PG 1-1.
You spelt the name wrong in the doc.
Whoops.
Real big, real big fan there.
That's my MVP.
Well, I'm gonna take SGA at the 1-2. My MVP.
Nico, I know you mentioned it earlier and that it'd be devious if I did it. I have no choice. I have no choice but to do it.
Yeah, because once the draft order got leaked, I'm like, oh my god, Nick's not gonna take Shea first, which kind of screws up what I thought the draft was gonna be.
We go Jokic at the 1-3, and at the turn, we're just gonna put people out of their misery and select Wemby at the 2-1.
There's your front.
Damn it.
That's a thick front court. We're playing these games in 2K. I'm not here for it.
That's pretty thick.
So realistically now, you're asking me who I think has been the 5th best player this year. And looking at all
the positions that you need to fill.
Yes, looking at all the numbers here, I think this is a toss up with a couple different, but I'm gonna stick with what are we calling Jaylen Brown? We're gonna call him a guard.
He's a guard. He's a guard forward, small forward guard.
I'm gonna slide him in at the forward spot if that's all right.
That's annoying.
Luka has 28 going into half, by the way.
Oh man, that was my pick.
Nick,
all right,
don't go breaking my heart right now.
I'll go breaking your heart.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll just double up on the backcourt. I'm gonna take Anthony Edwards.
Ooh, thank gosh.
Over Cade Cunningham.
Gosh. Why did you have to say that? Actually, no, you're gonna take him right now. It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, thanks. And then, well, technically, can I put Luka then at the forward?
Is Luka forward?
No. Luka's a guard, dude. Luka's a guard.
You're all guarded up.
I don't know if you've ever seen a court where Luka's on the court and he's not taking the ball up.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, would you change it? Would you change it now? I'll give it to you if you want to change it.
No,
because if he fully believes that Cade Cunningham was better than Anthony Edwards this year, and he would take Cade, I want this to be our best players.
We had time between these picks to figure out who we were going to possibly take. You don't get a second chance in your fantasy draft if you draft the wrong player.
That is true.
Forgot about the guy with the collapse lunk.
Let it be.
All right, fine.
If Anthony Edwards goes before Cade Cunningham, then I have to take Cade here, filling out my guards.
Wait, no, it's me again.
Oh, well, yeah, Nick still has to make his pick, but spoiler.
I was
just saying.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna take Mr. Blah.
I think you said Plop, and I was like,
no, Mr. Kawhi Leonard. No, Mr. Blah.
Honestly, Kawhi, I think this is where Kawhi should go. He's had probably the most underrated season, I think, out of everybody in the league.
It's just because
I agree, dude.
The Clippers have been so subpar, like from what everyone thought they might be.
Oh no, yeah, 28 points a game, 56 games played.
So back to you now, Brooklyn. After I take Cade.
Okay. Well, let's start to fill out these guards. Then we're gonna go Donovan Mitchell here.
Spider-Man found a home.
This is 3-1. 3-1.
3-3.
3-3. Sorry. And that swings me back now, and I gotta start thinking about some certain positions for this next one, and I just think it makes sense if I go after a certain individual with now who's been crowned the CEO of legs, Mr. Slim Reaper.
Damn it!
I think I was Nick. Katie was not coming back to you. I can tell you that for free.
I was open, man.
The CEO of legs was there. CeraVe gave me the call. They're like, you need to take him. I don't even know if you guys know what I'm talking about when I say that.
No.
Not really.
You
No.
know, there's a CeraVe commercial because he's got that trend of having ashy ass legs, and it's Kevin Durant's legs, and it's just like the longest like pin up of his legs ever. It's like a 10-second shot, and then Twitter just started calling him the CEO of legs.
Now, I don't know if this is a reach. I don't think it is based on how he's played this year. And you could argue that he's been a top 3 center. I was saying who's the third center off the board going to go, and I just want to make this before Nick does.
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
So yeah, I'm taking Jalen Duren.
I knew it.
Dude, why?
I mean, there's gonna be plenty of bigs on the board here. Like, if Nick ends up with like Sengun here, that's still a solid ass team.
Yeah.
I don't think anything is touching my two, but
Yeah, no, definitely not.
I think Wemby handles Duren pretty easily.
I'm gonna take. Well, no, because it's me back to back, right? Yeah. Well, I want Sengun was either gonna be 4 or 5 for me, so we'll just throw him in there.
You know what we got to do is we got to do a 2K league and have these basically make these our teams and sim the game.
Oh yeah.
See who wins.
I would love that. When I did my podcast in college with my roommate, we used to do every All-Star game. We would do an All-Star draft of the players, like we draft our own teams, and then we would play them in 2K right after.
You could probably, if we could do Blacktop, we could actually get all 5 and just have them play Blacktop 5v5 there.
All right. I don't know if this is of reach, or you guys might call me crazy here, but last one for forwards, I'm gonna take Cat. I'd take Carl.
I think he's up there. I'd argue maybe Holmgren. I think that's a conversation.
Yeah, that's fair. But 20 points, he's shooting almost 50% from the floor. Pretty good from 3 and 12 boards a game. It's pretty average. It's pretty good.
Every part of me
him
here.
Or Bam. It was either him or Bam. Fuck the Heat. So
yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
You finish with Sengun and Cat. I mentioned this name earlier because I said he was going to go off that he was going to possibly end up on this draft, and I think this forward does end up on an All NBA. I think All NBA third team most likely. Not picking LeBron this time. I'm actually taking Jalen Johnson from the Hawks here to finish my draft.
That's not a bad pick, but you know who I'm shocked? Actually, not shocked at all with like who was on the board when you guys were drafting, but I got one guard position. My man, Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah, there's no way he was not going to be able to make it either.
Yeah, averaging almost 30 points a game. Like, I got scorers on my team, and then you try to take it into my paint, like you're getting hit by the brick wall of the Serbian beast, and then the Stifle Tower Part 2.
So yeah, go through your teams. Let's see the team recaps. Let's start with Nick. Is the 1-1.
So with the 1-1, we have drafted Luka Doncic at the 1, Anthony Edwards at the 2. We have Kawhi at the 3. Probably Sengun would play the 4, and then Cat at the 5.
With the second overall pick in the draft, I went SGA and Cade Cunningham as my backcourt. I have Jaylen Brown and Jalen Johnson as my forwards. I actually drafted 3 Jalen's. I didn't even notice that. So
it's funny as hell.
SGA, Cade Cunningham, and then I got the trio of Jaylen Brown, Jalen Johnson, and Jalen Duren. Shout out Jalen Rose.
You and my team, I got two traffic cones when it comes to my guard position. When it comes to defense, Mitchell and Maxey not necessarily going to be known to be the guys to meet you at the rim or stop you from getting there to begin with. But Mitchell at guard, Maxey at guard. Then we go straight to Kevin Durant, Jokic, and Wemby. Dude, look at the height I got from 3-4-5. That's a 6'10" small forward, a 7-foot power forward, and like a 7'5" center.
Well, if we actually did play in 2K, I think I get killed by both your teams because that's your front court. Then Nick is Kawhi, Sengun, Cat, and I've got Jalen Johnson at the power forward. So.
I'm gonna be real, man. played 2K for a lot of time. You got like one of the worst teams in terms of 2K because of the animations.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
my team
like
isn't pretty
Jalen
on
Brown
there.
is already disgusting.
SGA does not cook like he does in real life in 2K. Cade Cunningham has a horrible jump shot in terms of timing. Jalen Brown, it's like slow as molasses.
I
Have to
couldn't
use
tell
Jalen
Jalen Johnson. Yeah.
But
Jalen Duren is a good luck against Wemby.
Looking at our draft, how many of these players, or are there any players on the board that we selected that you think won't end up on an All NBA team, All NBA first, second, third team?
I could see Sengun getting snubbed.
Yeah, probably Sengun.
I think Holmgren has to make some All NBA team, and I think he fights Sengun there. I think the guards. I think all the guards make sense. You know, maybe.
What about Cat? I don't know about Cat either. I would take Duren over Cat.
I think Duren's got an All NBA locked up.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I think maybe you try to make room for like Jalen Brunson.
I was thinking Brunson.
Yeah, but who would you get rid of off this list now?
That's what I'm saying.
Give that to Brunson. I don't think there is a name. I think Brunson doesn't. I don't think Brunson.
Jamal Murray.
Again, you still got to kick somebody out.
Yeah, you got. I don't know if there's a guy in here that I would
played
kick
68
out.
games.
Yeah, but who are you kicking out from our group?
Still, I don't know who are you taking out from this list to put Jamal Murray in.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh yeah, that's fair.
I think the only one that I would think is up in the air is, like you said, Sengun or Cat. I think one of those guys gets subbed out for Holmgren.
Yeah, you know what? Most realistically, I think Cat. And then Sengun is like right behind him. But otherwise, the rest of these names are pretty set. I don't think anything changes.
Well, yeah. So those are our drafts. Again, something
else.
We'll
see what we can do with that. I think we could get some good content piece out of there.
Yeah, I'll be posting a graphic of each of our teams. And you know, maybe if we play a 2K game, I'll throw the scoreboard at the end of the slides. But make sure to look for that in this upcoming week on _pod. And that leaves us to the quickest hoop grid you'll ever see, because we are good at hoop grids.
Well, there's a new one too.
Oh.
There's a brand new one as well.
Oh.
There's two.
We might be here all day.
Yeah, I think we might be here all day.
Let's do the one that did not just drop. Because I had very cool answers for the first one this morning, and I will not, like, I want this to be like a one.
Some cool ones too, though. This one's not that bad.
I want to be able to put this on a clip in social media in 1 minute.
I can't really believe that. I'm looking at the new one, and Mirza Teletovic is almost a 1% for playing for the Bucks. Dude, how do you guys know who Mirza Teletovic is?
Yeah, wait, hold on.
And Mirza Teletovic was a Nets legend from that like kind of bad era. How do people know who he is?
I mean, Jared Bayless is a 0.8.
Okay, but Jared Bayless is a little bit more well known, especially in the 2010s.
Okay, let's go to the board that we're dealing with. So,
yeah,
should be appearing on your screen sometime now. You know, I have to do this in post editing. Yeah, shout out Nick for actually doing the grid for us. But on the board, our hoop grid, for those that are only listening and not watching, the things we're looking for today. We have 3 teams: the Detroit Pistons, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Indiana Pacers. And then the stats that have to follow along with them. It's under 800 minutes in a season, less than 2,026 assists for a career, and a 25-plus point game in the regular season. Dividing this up into threes, I know I'm taking the 2026 less than assists. I don't know. I forget which ones you guys signed up for.
I'm doing
under 800 minutes, and then Nick's got 25-point games.
So do you want to go one by one, or do you want to do
would you want to go one by one across or one by one down?
That's what I'm saying. Do you want to do all of yours at once, or do you want to do one pick each?
Let's go down.
Okay.
We can go down.
All right. So
I started off.
Detroit Pistons. Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is gonna be kind of a ball knowledge pick, because most people don't even know, might not know that he finished his career on this team. Steve Blake for the Pistons, under 800 minutes.
Love Steve Blake.
Let me know what that's
0.19.
Okay, good start.
That's good.
For less than 2,026 assists in their career, I have to take one of my favorite draft snubs or draft busts of the last few years. Give me a Sekou Demboya.
How do you even spell that?
Yeah,
Sekou. And I can't say there's.
Sekou Demboya.
Oh.
Can't say there's another one.
0.93.
I think he was class of 2018. I thought he was gonna be so good.
I would have said
0.93.
I thought you were going with Marvin Bagley there. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, good lord.
For 25-point game, I'm gonna go with now. You're gonna be like, oh, that's actually a common one. I'm gonna go with Jeremy Grant, mostly because a lot of people didn't know that he played on Detroit,
You
and
want to
that is
know?
0.43.
You want to know a quick name I would have thrown for the assist one that would have been lower percentages? Kyle Singler.
I didn't think of Kyle Singler.
Oh, we're getting ugly. We're getting ugly here.
We start back at the top. Also, I would have put Wayne Ellington in for the 25-point game.
Oh, Wayne Ellington. I always think of Wayne Ellington for the Heat, not
Guys,
for
we
the
got
Pistons.
good. We got good scores here. Let's keep it moving.
All right, Cavs under 800 minutes. This also requires some ball knowledge. You would think I just started watching basketball 2 seasons ago. Give me CJ Miles. Remember, you gave me the hard topic here. This is like irrelevant ass guys. This is irrelevant ass guys under
That's
800 minutes in a
insane.
season. I gotta use some ball knowledge for
Well,
this.
I try to make mine funny in some way. Like for less than 26 assists for the Cavs. You know, everybody thinks of Evan Mobley, but what about Isaiah Mobley?
Oh,
Oh. 0.53.
Bang.
For me, for my Cavs one, I don't. For me with the Cavs, I was struggling, man. I was thinking Dejounte Jones, but that wasn't a good one. I just settled with Mo Williams because I couldn't be more original than that. Oh wait, no, I actually had a different one than that. Now it came back to me. I was thinking, give me Jay Crowder, 0.39.
and for my last trick, you want to talk about B-Pods being one of the most hated guys in the league. Let's go for another one. Can you take a guess? Pacers under 800 minutes. One of the most hated players in the current league.
I was gonna say T.J. McConnell.
Why is he hated?
I don't know. I feel like
I think Nick just hates him.
No, I feel like he from that Celtics series a few years ago, yeah. And Andrew Nemhard. Fuck Andrew
Okay,
Nemhard.
don't put TJ McConnell in there.
I'm not.
Give me Georges Niang.
Oh my god.
Oh
His
God.
first early seasons were with the Pacers, and he's not much now, and he wasn't that either.
0.17? Wow. I didn't know that.
I'm following Nick's trend of the Jay Crowder pick with picking a Celtic that made some appearance on the Pacers. So for less than 26 assists for the Pacers, give me Daniel Tice.
Nice, dude. Tice is nice.
I feel like that might be
0.16.
Oh,
Good
okay.
one. That was a good one. 25-point game for a regular season for the Pacers. Give me Laker legend Andrew Bynum. And that is 0.13. So we finished with a
Bang.
rarity score of 3.
That's
Our
higher
grid
than I thought it
was
gonna be.
our grid was 57% better than other grids. No unicorn.
57% better.
Yeah, dude. This one, I guess. But our highest
Guys,
one,
I pulled my weight, man.
our highest one was Sekou.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
which is insane.
Our lowest one was CJ Miles. I mean, CJ Miles, you could have said for any category for the Pacers either. That's where you said CJ Miles, and I went, damn it.
Sekou Demboya
Yeah,
probably has the least amount of NBA experience out of everybody we named, maybe outside of Isaiah Mobley.
Before we started
Marvin
recording, I
Bagley?
told Nick, I was like, what happens if one of us says the same player as someone else? He's
If
like,
you
I don't
said-
think that's going to happen. I'm like,
If you
CJ
said
Miles.
Marvin Bagley, if you said Marvin Bagley, it would have been 0.42. That's who I thought you were going to say.
How do more people know about
Really?
Sekou than Marvin Bagley?
Because he got drafted by the Kings.
I had a crazy
Yes.
reach, not even a reach. I had a crazy poll for the Cavs 25-point minute this earlier on my phone. I didn't want to use it for this because obviously we're doing this a little bit differently. But I had Donald Sloan, who you might not even know who that is. He played on the Nets for about a year,
Yes.
maybe 2 years, but he was on the Cavs before that.
0.9.
Yeah,
Wow.
he was definitely one.
0.9.
CJ Watson was 0.22 for 22-point games for the Pacers. Wayne Ellington fell into multiple categories here. Marcus Morris also for the Cavs under 800 minutes. Charlie Villanueva for the Pistons, 25-point game.
Forgot about him.
And then I have I have an NBA franchise with Sean where Malik Sealy, a Detroit Piston, from like the 80s or 90s. More like the
Uh,
90s.
also,
He's a unicorn.
also you could have said either Brandon Knight or Brandon Jennings for 25 point per game score for the Pistons. Shout out
Yeah.
Brandon Knight.
Yeah, when I did it earlier, I used Malachi Flynn, which was too high for the Pistons. I was like 4%. But I was like, hey, draft 50.
I said Brandon Knight. I don't know about you guys. I immediately thought of him just getting shelled by DeAndre Jordan and then also missing the layup. That overtime layup against the
Yeah,
Nuggets.
And
that was
getting
against the
dropped
Nuggets,
by
yeah.
Kyrie in the futures game.
So-
That all
Yes,
happened in
that
like
too.
I think like a 2 or 3 years window.
He was on the Pistons. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you could put me back in time to see one NBA play live, I think it would have to be the DeAndre Jordan murder. That
Mine. Ooh, yeah. Mine would either be the Jason Terry murder,
oh yeah, that's
or
one's bad too.
or like
Mm.
low key like one of my favorite clips is biased because I'm a Nets fan. Joe Johnson crossing up Paul Pierce with a
I
crazy
think mine,
ball handle in there.
my more
like,
recent
low-
one, probably. Do you remember when Harden crossed up Wesley Johnson? Where he, like,
he
did
just
the
stood
step
there.
and
He
he
just
just
stood
stood there.
there. He was filthy.
We
You
should
guys
do
are-
HoopGrids more often so we can start talking about this stuff.
Yeah, you guys are
Or
also
honestly,
forgetting.
you know what? I want to see that. I want to see that poster on Noah Asenge in summer league just so I can see that one photo that was taken live. I'm like, I saw it make the face.
You're all forgetting about the position that Kevin Durant put Daniel Gafford in back in DC on that cross. That one just looked insane.
And then the position that Jason Tatum put Kevin Durant in that playoff series.
Oh, dude, Pacers. You could have said Lance Stevenson. You know, because we were
He would've been
talking about the
popular.
position.
It would have been
I
popular.
am sure that
but
would have been. I'm sure that would have been.
Because I was thinking of the Lance Stevenson clip where he crossed up. I forget who he crossed up, and then he just started doing like the nene like immediately after.
I don't know. There's so many different clips that you could be reminded of when you hear Stephen A. Lance
Stephen A.
Stevenson.
Smith.
But
It was
the
when he
one,
was on the Lakers.
the one for
His little
me
Lakers stint.
that gets me is when he palms the ball and he tries to do like the Jordan, and he just he does like some crazy move with it palmed, and then just turns the ball over immediately. Like this is a dude that's like
Oh,
in his
man.
mid-30s, averaging 5 a game.
When he
But
was on, yeah.
But I think that's a good point to stop it. We got an hour 20 today. It's good to get the boys back together. Good for us to yap.
Yeah.
Socials as always,
Definitely.
like that _pod wherever you consume your media. And like we just posted something, got 11K views. Yippee!
Feel free to drop your thoughts on that.
Yeah, definitely.
But do you guys ever? I feel like every time I go to say goodbye, I always try to say goodnight and do the send off, waiting for one of you guys to also say goodnight, and then just we just stall for a little bit. So
I hope next week at this time, Luka Doncic has better odds at MVP, and I hope my points I hope my
resonate.
points come pretty clear. Yeah, I hope they do.
Hey, man,
As
Are
of
you
right now,
hashtag
it's
Team
30.
Nick or hashtag Team Nico?
Luka's
see.
making a real convincing argument right now, just in this game alone. So we'll see.
He's got 34 and 6 right now.
Good night, everybody.
Over.
Good night.